Mm.
Everybody dies.
Yeah.
And that's
Bring it
why
on. The Monkey opens up this weekend, guys, and you're going to go out and see it. The Monkey is directed by Osgood Perkins, produced by James Wan, and stars Theo James. And it tells the tale of, well, this uh, possessed monkey that kills people, or like this toy. When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw the toy away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. Now, if you have watched, or sorry, if you have seen the trailers, you see that the tone of this is pretty bloody and gory. So I was going into this thinking, okay, well, I really liked Long Legs from Osgood Perkins. That was a really good movie, right? I like James Wan as a producer, and he knows the realm of horror. Comes from a short story from Stephen King. So what could possibly go wrong here? We have all the right ingredients. And indeed, this movie had all the right ingredients. But did it work? Did it work? Theo James is the best part of this movie. He puts on an interesting performance because he plays twins. However, you watch the trailers for this and you're like, okay, well, this doll is cursed and whatever. Whenever they wind it, it kills somebody. You're expecting something in the tone of Final Destination, right? You watch this because you want to see how gruesome people will die. And unfortunately, the deaths in this are so blatantly over the top, it takes you out of the film. It really does. You watch one of these deaths and you're like, okay, well, obviously that one happened, right? And like, I mean, how they die. Like if you're gonna get electrocuted, like that kind of thing, you just don't explode. It's actually quite freaky and scary, people who do get electrocuted to death. And if they could portray that kind of horror, it's not. It's just over the top, bees flying in people's mouths, fish hooks in people's. It's just. You watch one of them and you're like, okay, this is going to be. It's meant to be this tone, right? Unfortunately, the rest of the movie's not following that tone, right? Okay, we're getting ridiculous over the top deaths, but the rest of the movie's not like that because there's this story going on with the father and the son that should have been the emotional backbone for this. However, we spend a lot of time with the younger kids, and it's like, at one point, slightly boring. It's like, get onto it. Get onto it. We want to see this monkey kill people. Are the people that are torturing this young kid going to get their comeuppance? No. And it's a disappointment. I said this in my Straight Out of the Theater reaction, that if you're looking for a good Stephen King adaptation, like, this is, no, it's not a good one, because you're like, well, this is a short story and it could be expanded. But I was thinking about this in the theater as far as Stephen King adaptations go, right? Like, I still think the pinnacle has to be Shawshank Redemption as the number one. It's just like, Darabont did a fantastic job. And then there's last year's debacle that was Salem's Lot, that when the studio executives saw that movie and they were like, this is not a very good movie, guys. Can we even release this film? And they didn't for the longest time. And then they finally did. I watched it as a horror enthusiast, and I didn't like it. Now, I was watching this movie and I was like, well, on that scale, it's leaning a little bit more towards Salem's Lot. And then in the final act, I stood up and from my seat and I was like, I can't stand this anymore. This is just stupid. What's happening here? It's just moronic. You don't care about any of these characters. You're not rooting for any of these characters. And the deaths are just dumb. They're not even fun like Final Destination. It's just stupid, an outright stupid film. And I wanted to compare it to like that movie Thinner, right? It's like on that kind of ilk where it's like, okay, well, it's that kind of caliber. But the problem is that I would go back and revisit Thinner because there's things in there that are kind of like, okay, make it worthwhile watching. The Monkey is not that, because as I said, you don't care about any of the characters. Yes, it's going to have over-the-top deaths, but the tone is so, oh God, it's just, you want me to take you seriously at one moment, and then next you've got something stupid happening, like bees flying into, okay. You guys get the impression of how I feel about this film. It's frustrating because you just saw Osgood Perkins execute what I felt was a fairly decent film in Longlegs. Longlegs is one of my favorite films from last year, and it's just it's not even comparable in quality. Longlegs just has that eeriness to it. You actually root for her character in Longlegs. You don't root for any of the characters in Monkey. It's kind of like, well, you want them to die. And it's just like, oh God, what a disappointment. Maybe it was because my expectations were too high. But the acting is so over the top at some points, it just pulls you out. It's like a preacher at a funeral will not come up and just start dropping F-bombs. And then you're like, well, that's the tone that you want, right? But it doesn't match with the rest of the film. I'm getting angry here. Now let's go over my score sheet and try to fill in some numbers here. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points. Cinematography and score out of a 1 point each. Cinematography is serviceable. Score is serviceable. But the acting, Theo James. Now, does he have like a big, huge scene in here that makes you go, you got to check it out because of Theo James? It's competent. He's very competent. He's the best part of it, but I can't give it a 1.5 because of it, because everybody else in the film, like even Tatiana Maslany, and I like her a lot. It's down to the directing, and the directing is 0.5 for me in this because of the execution of the story. The story's got an interesting premise, but you don't like any of the characters. Yeah, I don't like. After the hour mark, you're like, okay, well, where's this going, guys? We know that this monkey kills people. We know that the twins don't like each other. But other than everybody dying in the end, will I be satisfied with that? Will I be happy with that? You're not. You overall feel unfulfilled by this. And there was that possibility in there of it being a good film because of the father trying to protect the son of the curse of the monkey. But it's just like, they don't run with that, right? They don't move anywhere with that. And you're just left going, this sucks. This sucks. I want out of here. Luckily, the film is only like an hour and 40 minutes. But still, you're like, for the last 20 minutes, you're like, hey. So, we're sitting at a 3 out of 10. Let's go over to the tomato meter. See what other people are talking about the monkey. Yeah, it's an hour and 38 minutes. What? 79% by critics, 74% by the audience. So I'm going to be the odd man out here. But guys, I got to call it as it is. And I expect that these numbers will go down as more people see it. It's not even a fun film to sit there and go, oh, look at that person die. It's not like that. It's not. Because this is subpar B-movie fare. Chud has more value than this. Let's see what some of the critics say. Bibiani liked it. A sick, twisted work of comic genius. Comic. There you go. Where the punchlines punch so hard you'll explode. And that's going to some ridiculousness in some of the kills. So if you don't put it on your thinking cap, this might work for you. And this is a strange reaction from Bibiani because if you know his reviews, he's actually fairly critical of story structure and character. And it's kind of shocking to see that kind of a review from him. The Toronto Star, with Perkins playing it all for grim laughs. He's trying to do that. You realize it's not scary. It's one of those movies where you want to see people die, but it's kind of like, boring as well. The monkey lacks any real sense of the consequences of human folly and the dangers of toying with fate. And that's a good point there, because they want you to believe that, oh, it's this, you turn the key on the monkey and somebody's gonna end up dead. There's some serious subject matter there that you could tackle with this audacious scenario. It's just so audacious, but and at the same time not entertaining. Let's go down to some of the audience. Gruesomely good time. This reeks of somebody just looking at their phone for 80% of the film. You weren't paying attention, were you? Alvin Yu, I had low expectations for The Monkey. The film was actually a good horror movie. Theo James was great as yeah, he was great, but it was as a horror movie. Now, don't waste your time, Diana says. The movie isn't scary at all. And no, it's not. It's not scary, guys. This is tame. Like, the only thing that makes this R-rated, I would say, is just the blood. That's not even gratuitous. It's just over the top lunacy. And I don't know what it is in here, why James Wan didn't rein in Osgood Perkins, because we know he can turn out good stuff. This is the first movie of the year for me to have a serious disappointment, where I'm coming out saying this is not a good movie. I feel so let down by this. I don't know how anybody can justify telling me that this is a good movie, other than the fact that for the most part they were on their devices throughout the phone, or they were before the film and just like, let's watch this movie. Guys, not good. Not good. It's not a good film. Let's go over to the score sheet and wrap this up. So we're sitting at 3 out of 10. If you're a horror fan, like, the premise alone is interesting. If you're a horror fan, you will want to check it out. Whoops. Because this goes into Stephen King stuff, right? You want to see how this is all executed. But I'm going to tell you straight up, there's not a lot of value here. There's not. Other than Theo James. So 4 out of 10 for The Monkey is about where I feel it's supposed to be. I can't agree with everybody else on the tomato meter, because I don't know what they were smoking when they came up with these scores. I really don't. Okay, so with that being said, are you guys going to go check it out this weekend? And if you do, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and what you liked about it, what you didn't like. And I was really hoping that this one was going to be good, because we had The Gorge last week. We're going to do a movie review for that one just next here on the channel, guys. So come join us for that. And The Monkey. Whoops. 4 out of 10. It's a damn shame. You're watching Mirror Domains.